Well, from there we move to a not-so-good story. We did see that 2 days ago, a 7-story building collapsed in Banana Island in Lagos. And from there we've heard that the Lagos state government is looking to do a stress test on buildings on that Banana Island. This is not the first, and well, obviously something needs to be done. But with trillions lost to failed and collapsed buildings, stakeholders talking about road to recovery. Lagos State accounts for 60% of reported cases of those collapse in the country. In 2022, it was stated that Lagos lost 66.37 billion naira to collapsed building in 24 months. There was a record of 20 cases and 90 deaths in 9 months. One of those who carried out that test, and I've been speaking about it, is the pioneer president of Building Collapse Prevention Guild, Mr. Kunle Awobodu, joins us from our Abuja studio to elaborate on this. Mr. Awobodu, good morning. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Once again, we have to have this conversation just when you would think that Nigeria has grown past it. And, you know, the surprising thing is for a second time now, we're seeing it happening in Banana Island, which is supposed to be a highbrow area. They are not supposed to be cutting corners. What's going on? I mean, you are in the guild of preventing collapsed building.
Yeah, good morning, viewers. It's not a happy time for us, especially those of us in the built environment who have been promoting standard construction over the years. It's more or less like an outcome of general malaise in the country. Well, after the collapse of stock business in Nigeria, a lot of investors diverted attention or focused attention in real estate business, where you could gain a lot of valuable returns after investment. So that is why the real estate business and building construction should be a business that we cannot actually joke with. And what happened in Banana Island, which is regarded as the paradise of billionaires, is unfortunate and unacceptable. First, the developer must be an investor, either bank loan or people's contributions are directly involved. By this April in 2021, a building was pulled down at Parkview Estate in Ikoyi. It was constructed by certain developer and was pulled down by Lagos State government on infractions. So this particular building that collapsed on Banana Island, such a developer must have learned from the loss in investment of the one that collapsed also in April, or not collapsed, pulled down in April in 2021. So naturally, developers who are somehow careless will suffer a lot of losses in investment. So no serious developer would like to invest on a project that is bound to fail. For instance, a flat, a 3-bedroom flat on a building we inspected on Banana Island recently was going for 15 million naira per annum. So an average developer will be attracted to investment on Banana Island. And the investment is huge. Most cases for high-rise building on that island, which was completed artificial island, which was completed in year 2000, the piling in that area is at a huge cost. At times, you might be spending about 120,000 naira per meter for 800 diameter piles. And that location is very erratic in nature. So anybody that wants to develop in Banana Island must be cautious of the high cost of development. But one will not be worried because of high returns in investment. So in this case, it is an island that one should not allow a development of substandard construction to take place. And from my own experience too, that island has a very strong association, well-disciplined association. So I wonder why this should have happened on that island.
Yeah, Mr. Ubodu, I mean,
for those of us,
yeah. So I was going to say that, just as you have noted, I mean, Banana Island is for the elites mostly, and investment there is high. Obviously, the returns is also high. So where could the cutting of corners be coming from? Because one would have thought cutting of corners would be coming because people want to reduce cost. But if the individuals, presumably, corporates or individuals involved are elites who should be able to, invest enough to get enough returns, then is it that they're getting quacks? Or is it that those who are supposed to be professionals are now deceiving the investors and using maybe substandard materials?
Yes, when you look at the design or the building, you study the video, you notice the nature of the suspended slabs of the 7-story building. Flat slab, design flat slab, which is not common. So that means that the developer should have engaged some qualified engineers to carry out the design and possibly qualify architects. And that is why it is important to always have project board as recommended by the regulation on every building site, which will reveal the names of the architects, the engineers, and the builders. And they become traceable to the regulatory bodies in the built environment. If they are qualified professionals or they are quacks. So in this case, something has really gone wrong, and there should be a comprehensive investigation, starting from geotechnical analysis of soil investigation and to the finishing or substructure level. Because from what we could observe, ready-mix concrete was being used at the last floor, which is the 7 that makes the number of stories 7. And ready-mixed, the cost of ready-mixed to that place, maybe grade 30, or let's say minimally grade 25. It's about 75,000 naira per cubic meter. And the type of reinforcement bars that will meet standard, the minimum should be TMT. You can't get a ton that will pass standard less than about 500,000 naira. Sans the labor. You have not costed the labor. So, from our little observation, something went wrong. Something really went wrong. Why I'm saying this, I still don't know the connection between the developer that lost heavily at Parkview Estate and the developer of this present one. So in Newton law, especially second law, we will say work done is equal to force multiplied by distance. For those of us who have been working in the promotion of standard building construction over the years to prevent this frequent collapse of building, we feel a little bit demoralized because our years of work, where we are contributing our own resources, all of us across the semi-built environment, professional bodies, to fight quackery in our industry, we feel a little bit demoralized that from the collapse of 21-story building to the collapse of 7-story building within the same axis, it's difficult to excuse. And it is indictment on all those of us who are professionals in the Nigerian built environment, because the whole world is looking at us, and that is why, rather than withdraw into our chairs, we will need to increase the tempo of our activities. And the Lagos State government should be encouraged now to bring out some kind of punitive measures, because over 552 buildings that have, or about 552 buildings that have collapsed in Nigeria since year 1974. 59.06% happened in Lagos State. And between that time and now, no single person has been successfully prosecuted in a society where there is no consequence. Loss of life and investment becomes a continuum.
All right, Mr. Wobodu. So what would you advise investors in the real estate sector to do now? What extra steps can they take? Because as you have outlined, this is a loss. I mean, we do, of course, first of all, prioritize lives involved. And we thank God that in this last one, there was no life involved, even though there are people injured in the hospital. But I mean, what would you ask investors to look out for or to do to protect their investment as they go into this construction? I mean, because it's not just, it doesn't sound like it's just about providing the funds. It looks like they might have to go a step or two further to be able to protect their investments.
Yes. Number one, some of the developers are very cautious of quality production. You know, when you are trying to economize in certain areas, you might endanger the outcome of your investment. It is very important that they should engage experienced, well-qualified professionals. People should not be coming into our industry, construction industry, thinking or prioritizing pecuniary gains. They should look at the risk involved. So by the time some of the corporates are really punished, are heavily punished, quacks will be scared from that industry. Let me cite a quick example. It's a worrisome state. A few days ago, some videos of piling work across that axis to Lekki were sent to me that look at what is happening. Eventually, we knew that that piling work will fail over the years. That is the common problem in that axis, Lekki axis. Foundation problem is of serious concern to us in that profession, those of us in the profession. Quacks are so many involved in the piling foundation activities in Lagos. So an appeal will be made to the general manager or to the Lagos State Building Control Agency to sanitize the piling industry and subsoil investigation activities, because that area happened to be the source of preliminary or primary problems in our building industry. Then we should keep to the regulations. The current Lagos State Building Control Regulation in Lagos insists that on every building site, there must be a professional builder, for instance, that should manage the building production process. It's not because of the gain, so that somebody will be held liable if production goes astray. So now it is not a business for all commerce, or we say all commerce affairs. There should be discipline in our industry. And most of the past recommendations made by these committees of investigation on building collapse should be made or upgraded to the level of fruition. I have been a member in many of these committees, but we discovered that some of our recommendations are not implemented after many years. So they could bring these recommendations together and examine them appropriately and try to create some kind of unison between policy formulation and implementation to eradicate or wipe out the dichotomy. So sanity will return to our industry. We are seriously pained with this development.
Yeah, well, not just you, but a whole lot of Nigerians who have lost loved ones, who have lost, investments and all of that. Thank you so much. Mr. Kunle Awobodun is the pioneer president of Building Collapse Prevention Guild. Thank you for your time this morning.
Yes. Thank you.